So when we think about how well you perform, we think about whether you are developing. We think about whether you as the employee is actually giving the government its worth. It's fostering the teamwork. And we say that once that has happened, it will directly lead to achieving your organizational goal. So we've talked much about how to complete the employee performance appraisal. We've talked about the importance of it. If you would have gathered that information, now this is the record that I spoke about. The record must be completed in triplicate form. And we indicated this is your front sheet and how all of the information as an employee, when you receive this front sheet would already be completed. So of course, your HR would complete this section and everything and send it. So once you receive it, just review it that the information is correct. So employee, these factors 1 to 13 is really the meat of the report, basically telling us at the commission how well you perform. And so, of course, you would note that the ratings go from 5 being the highest and, of course, or being outstanding, and then it goes all the way down to poor. And we have non-applicable if that's an area that is suited. And so we would say, supervisors, be fair with your rating concerning. Discuss it. Have that dialogue. Try to come to an agreement with your staff. And even if, and supervisors, I can also say, be strong, because some staff are strong and they are very intimidating. And so I can say to you, both of you all, find a medium where you can basically be honest to allow that staff to grow, and for the staff to be respectful and honest enough to receive the report, because it's a growth mechanism as well. I know that some staff want all 5, all outstanding, and we do know some staff may be deserving of it, but truly there are areas for improvement in all of our lives, okay? So these 13 factors are areas where we asked supervisors. It's not a rush document. It takes time and consideration, and perhaps you review it first. I know you may be familiar with it at times, but review it. Before you give it to your staff, review it, take time, think about it, pray about it, and be honest to yourself. And so that when you now have this dialogue, perhaps give a copy of it to your staff and say, rate yourself. Allow them to rate themselves, allow them to bring that report in, you review it, and then you have this dialogue. And perhaps y'all can reach a good medium and the individual can receive the report the way you intend for it to happen, okay? Now, those 2 areas, when it comes down to punctuality and attendance, that's what we spoke of a lot. Those 2 areas carry much weight. And so be fair in those areas, as we noted earlier. This part 3 of the report, this is only here for persons who supervise others. And so this here, your supervisor will rate you as a supervisor. And so if you do not supervise, reporting officer, do not rate them in that capacity. If they do not supervise, do not rate them. Just check, not applicable, and leave that blank. And in fact, draw a line through it so that you be sure to not rate them. So here at part 4, where it talks about the employee's potential for advancement. Now we note oftentimes this is where sometimes reporting officers get a little confused as to what happens. And so this is now basically the totaling of the ratings you would have received. For instance, when you look at the 13 factors and whether you would have rated that employee 5 for above, 5 for outstanding, 4 for above average, and 3 for average, and then go down. Based on the amount of outstanding rating, based on the amount of 5, for instance, if that particular individual received 13 above average, which is 4 ratings. So of course now you're going to multiply it out, and so you can be able to get your average. And let's just say your average comes to 3.5. Note that in the commission, 3.5 is not rounded to 4. So that person then would have an average report. However, if an individual receives, let's just say 4.5 It is only at this point that we at the commission round up to 5. So 4.5 is would not be considered above average. Rather, it would be considered as outstanding. Okay, and so we note that oftentimes, supervisors tend to just give them outstanding, even though the rating does not reflect the same. So be mindful of that on the calculations and how you calculate. And then also the other category is where you're saying, is that employee ready for promotion? Oftentimes, supervisors, you tell your staff, because the staff has talked the story sometimes, my boss tell me they put in my promotion. They did it right on my performance employee form. Placing it here on the employee performance appraisal instrument is not a recommendation. This form basically only asking you, is the employee ready for promotion? And if you say they are ready and you check ready for promotion, then it should follow up with a formal recommendation for that promotion. And if you see your staff is performing well, don't check just and they're deserving of a promotion. Don't just check, okay, satisfactory performance. You want to be able to pay attention to these things so that you can help your employee to continue to perform well. The strength and weaknesses categories, those two areas should not be completed by the staff. We note that supervisors negate that. It appears that they shy away from this area because they do not want their staff to know how they really think their weakness, And so we want you to make sure that list the strength. If their strength is punctuality, say that they're strong in punctuality. If it's communication, you want to say that. You want to say all these wonderful things about your staff, and you want to put them there as strength. What we do not want you to do at the commission is we often note that if an individual is shy, and they put underneath weakness, shy can never be a weakness for that particular individual. When we think about weakness, we're talking about their performance rather than their personality. And so we encourage you not to put that there. And so if they do not have a weakness, you can just simply put that none observed during the year under review, and not trying to just put something there because you feel something ought to go there. Okay, but make sure that you complete it versus the employee completing it. And the other sections there under where it talks about an employee being able to, what qualifications or skills or what they want to achieve during that year. That basically talking about the job, what they want, and oftentimes you see persons mostly only put, I want a promotion. You also want to encourage them, because if your staff needs additional qualifications, you want to encourage them to get that qualification so that they can advance. And it is your duty as a supervisor to find out if all of these staff are underneath you. You want to know their status. And so because you know their status, you want to know what their next level should be. And if you want to know what their next level should be, take the opportunity to go to HR and find out what your staff need to encourage them. Now, you may say that's an HR job, but really and truly, these are your staff. So when they're disgruntled, they're not going to see HR, they're going to see you. When they're not promoted, they're going to act out on you because they're going to feel you are the one that is holding them back. A happy staff will work for you. When they feel that you are into their progress on the job, they will actually do the work. So you have to go and do a little bit more to help them to perform, okay? Now, as we said earlier, reporting officers, right here, right on this page here, at page 6. Make sure you put in your comments first. And if you do not have any comment, you can draw a line through it and then give it to your staff to read the entire report. A lot of time so that they wouldn't feel that they're being rushed, to give them an opportunity to really read through. Once you've already done that, then allow your staff to make their comments. Now, if there's something the staff realize that you put a rating there that they are not satisfied with, encourage them. In fact, if you truly believe that they should have received poor in an area, then, and they say, well, they didn't want to sign, encourage them, let them know. Okay, I understand you disagree with that. You're still required to sign this form. And in fact, you can actually say that I disagree with at the rating I receive at factors 9 and 10. See my letter dated so and so attached, and allow them to come back and bring their letter. And see, once your staff realize that, listen, you're not fearful, without any contradiction, you believe that they were rated fairly, even though they may carry on, sometimes they're going to settle down and they're going to look inward, versus them saying that, you know what, my boss is not, he or she's not fair. So make sure that happens, okay? And then, of course, further on, if you're in the department, allow the head of department to sign. And on the page just following this is where the PS signs, and then you attach all of the documentation to that report, and that will complete your performance appraisal.